the defending national champions. Good afternoon and welcome to NCAA Round 1 action from the East Regional. With Dan Belwamity, I'm Bob Carpenter. You had the defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers, 19-9. Richmond from the Colonial Athletic Association, 24-6. Dan, they won their league, they won their tournament, and if they're to win this game, they're going to have to deal with Dean Garrett, and one guy will be the key for them doing that.
Well, I really think they got a lot of guys that are going to have to play well for Richmond. They're going to have to get inside scoring punch, and Dick Tarrant told us, let's keep the numbers low, keep it in a half court. The one player, Bob, that you alluded to is Pete Woolfolk, and I think Woolfolk's going to have a big game. He's had a tremendous year for this club. He's able to score around the basket. He's able to get the big hoop when Dick Tarrant's club needs it, and he's going to have a real big game this afternoon.
And, of course, Indiana with a big story underneath in Dean Garrett. But what about the front court? A young man who has come on as a freshman, Jay Edwards, is having a fantastic late part of the season.
Yeah, he sure is, and uncharacteristic of really Indiana basketball. They've given the reins to a freshman, and he's responded. 23+ a game for Jay Edwards over the second half of the year. Terrific outside shooter, and he'll have to shoot it on the perimeter because I look for Richmond to switch up the defenses, play a lot of zones. Edwards a key guy, but he's had a great year.
All right, the Hoosiers are not favored to repeat as national champions, but if they are to do that, the first step is here today in Hartford. We'll meet the teams in just a moment.
At Pizza Hut, we make it fast.
We have time for lunch?
We make it hot.
It's gonna be hot, right?
And we make it great.
Great. Making it fast, making it hot, giving it everything we've got. Making your style, give me a smile. Slicing and spicing, cheesing, pleasing.
At Pizza Hut, we go all out to make it fast, hot, and delicious.
Making it happen, making your day. Pizza Hut, making it great.
The guys around the office think I bought a Buick Regal because it's so beautifully designed and so comfortable. And they're right. But they also think I got a raise because in their eternal wisdom, they think this Regal cost $2,000 or $3,000 more than it did. If that's what you think, go see your Buick dealer. You'll find Regal is priced with T-Bird and Cougar, even less. But don't tell the guys around the office.
The great American love belongs to Buick.
It is a sellout here at the Hartford Civic Center. Richmond from the Colonial Athletic Association against the Indiana Hoosiers of the Big Ten. For the intros, here's Roger Baker.
Between the Spiders of the University of Richmond and the Hoosiers of Indiana University. And now the starting lineups. At forward for Richmond, a 6'4" sophomore from Lowell, Massachusetts, number 22, Scott Stapleton. At forward for Indiana, a 6'4" freshman from Marion, Indiana, number 3, Jay Edwards. At forward for Richmond, a 6'5" senior from Richmond, Virginia, number 55, Peter Woolfolk. At forward for Indiana, a 6'6" senior from Hamilton, Ohio, number 32, Steve Isle. At center for Richmond, a 6'8" senior from Queens, New York, number 45, Steve Kratzer. At center for Indiana, a 6'10" senior from San Clemente, California, number 22, Dean Garrett. At guard for Richmond, a 6-foot sophomore from Northport, New York, number 10, Ken Atkinson. At guard for Indiana, a 6'1" freshman from Marion, Indiana, number 4, Lyndon Jones. At guard for Richmond, a 6'3" senior from Temple Hills, Maryland, number 24, Rodney Rice. And at guard for Indiana, a 6'1" senior from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, number 23, Keith Smart. The head coaches for Indiana, Bob Knight. For LSU, Dick Tarrant. The officials, John Clougherty.
Bobby Knight against Dick Tarrant. It's Indiana 19-9, Richmond 24-6. The opening tip-off after these messages.
In 1988, the NCAA Final Four is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Don't miss this chance to get your own 50th anniversary corduroy cap, t-shirt, or commemorative 24-karat gold-plated coin, each just $10.95, or all three for $27.95. Every order will also receive free the 1988 NCAA Official Final Four gift catalog. Credit card orders only. Call now, 1-800-225-3030.
Better serving our hometown southern Indiana communities of New Albany, Tell City, Rockport, and Huntingburg. Your one source financial friend, Regional Federal Savings Bank.
Kingfish Restaurants presents a movable feast. Anytime can be Kingfish time with your favorite seafood stowed to go at all 4 Kingfish locations.
You seem to be talking through your nose.
Oh, well, I do that on purpose so as I can talk whilst I eat.
Join us for the laughs, weekdays at 5 on Andy Griffith.
It's the first round of the East Regional here in Hartford, Richmond and Indiana. The officials from left to right, Ron Labadich, John Clougherty, and Frank Bassoni. And they've tossed it up. We have the opening tap, and it belongs to the Hoosiers. Lyndon Jones running the action, one of those 2 outstanding freshmen out of Marion, Indiana. It looks like a zone early for Richmond, Dan.
Either a zone or a box and one. It's hard to tell in that particular sequence, but you really look for Richmond to switch up the defense. They make a good play there to take the ball, and Dick Tarrant told us that, Dan, we got to keep the score low. We can't play any open court with this club. Try to keep it in the high 50s or low 60s.
Atkinson, a feisty little point guard, running the Richmond offense. This is Rice. Rodney at the top of the circle on the right side for Atkinson. Matched up there against Keith Smart. Hoosiers, as usual, man-to-man defensively. You saw them offensively dump it down to Garrett their first time. Here's a three-pointer, and Rice, who's shooting 50% from that range. Nothing but net. Richmond is the 7th leading three-point shooting team in the nation.
Excellent way to start. They are playing a box and one. They're playing box and one, and they're guarding Jay Edwards man-to-man. So man-to-man on Edwards, 4-man zone by the other players. They're going to need to make some outside shots.
A miss there from Keith Smart. Edwards stationed out high on the right wing. Dumped it to Garrett. They swung it left side to Smart, the miss. And now the Spiders, 24-6. The number 13 seed in this regional. A jump hook won't go for Peter Wolfett. And the follow. Kratzer, 6'8", out of Queens. He's a senior center.
Kratzer, known as the defensive guy, gets the offensive tip. I'm sure they're going to stay with this defense until Indiana cracks it again. Look at Stapleton playing man-to-man, and his job is to keep the ball away from Jay Edwards. Don't let Edwards touch the ball. Go with him all over the floor. Make someone else shoot it. Got caught there.
Yes, he did. Edwards got loose in the left wing. He's averaging 23 over his last 12 games, 15 on the year. And Jay Edwards at 6'4". Gets the Hoosiers on the board. It's 5-2 Richmond. Wolfett at the high post. Garrett behind him. Quieting Garrett defensively and offensively, Dick Tarrant says, the key to winning this game. He didn't even think about mentioning the word stopping Dean Garrett.
You know, what he's trying to do is contain him. Garrett with a great size advantage inside, and I'm sure Indiana's going to try to punch it in there when they get a chance.
Now here's where Stapleton's tough, driving. That time he, being a left-hander, switched to the right hand and couldn't spin it off the glass. Defensively, he's got a good wingspan, good quickness, and that's why they have him on Edwards. They pounded inside, and Smart with quickness, motoring down the paint, and it looks like Wolfett might have been the man reaching out to foul him. So you've got a guard penetrating, drawing a foul on the opposition's big man here.
Yeah, the one thing you have to do is not be too concerned with the box and one. Smart playing without the ball, got it that time, went down the middle, and drew the foul. It's going to put a little more pressure on some of the other players, and Edwards has to go ahead and just play his screens, and he can't force the ball, but there's going to be openings. Indiana just has to take advantage of it.
Smart is an outstanding free throw shooter. He hit 37 straight for Bob Knight at one point in this season, starting 20 games. In fact, that was an Indiana and a Big Ten record, those 37. 2 for 2, nothing new for Mr. Smart, and it's 5-4 Richmond. We're 2.5 minutes in. Bob Carpenter with Dan Belwamini. We're at Hartford, where the winner of this game plays Georgia Tech, who just got finished knocking off Iowa State.
And they look very impressive. What a regional. Tremendous regional here in the East. Good block. Nice follow.
Kratzer following once and missing, and then with the left hand. Steve Kratzer, averaging only 8 points a game, already has 4. Richmond by 3, almost 3 minutes in.
Smart just threw away his knee brace. Keith Smart came down the floor, just took his knee brace, kind of threw it over to the bench. He's throwing it to you, Bob.
It might have gotten knocked loose on that fray on the boards a moment ago. Smart on top. Lyndon Jones. Alley-oop down deep, and nobody broke to the ball. I think Garrett was supposed to turn and go, and he just couldn't get there.
Good defensive effort, though, by Richmond. Very impressed with the Richmond defense. Bob Knight was concerned about it. They're going to change up a lot, and you need to recognize what defense they're in. But the Spiders are having a terrific start, and that's what they needed.
Here's Wolford. They pound it inside. He can't get it down. And a physical play as Steve Isle goes crashing across the baseline. But the ball handling of Atkinson becomes such an important factor here. He works it around and then finds Wolford open in the paint via Rice.
You forget sometimes about the pass and you just concentrate on the shot, but Atkinson made the good pass. Isle there was trying to get position a little bit late. He's a big guy, this guy Wolford. I mean, he's about 6'5", and well, they list him 220, but he looks like more like about 240.
And he also has a good memory. A horrible night, he called it, when Dick Tarrant's team played the Hoosiers at Bloomington in the NIT a couple of years ago. He was 2 for 14 from the field that night. He says, I need to get some revenge. 2 points for Wolford, who averages a team leading 18 with 9 boards. Hoosiers down by 5 with the basketball, and some backcourt pressure by the Spiders.
Showing a little 1-2-2 that time, and then kind of drop back in the zone. Now they're going to go straight zone. No boxing one, straight 1-2-2.
Dan, offensively, one thing we should mention at this point, Rick Callaway, not really offensively in the Indiana plans here in the NCAA at this time.
Yeah, Callaway, of course, had a great year for Bob Knight. Started the season halfway through, fell into disfavor with Bob, and he told us before that really Callaway's a guy that does not figure into plans much. But, you know, I like it. He's there on the bench. He's standing up. He's applauding. He's clapping for his club, and that's a real good sign.
9-4 Richmond. Better than 4 minutes in. Out on top, it's Jay Edwards watching Rodney Rice. Here's Atkinson between the leg dribble. Lyndon Jones reached a bit, and the quickness and ball handling of Atkinson apparent there. He's a 6'1" sophomore from Long Island. Tough kid. The coaches like him because of his toughness. Dick Tarrant's in his 7th year at Richmond, 135 wins. He's a former alum of Fordham.
Can't win 24 games without excellent guard play. Atkinson, tough. Look at him penetrate. That time, as we talked about him, he just threw the ball away, but one of his few turnovers.
Dean Garrett, a big presence in the middle for the Hoosiers, but not heard from offensively so far. 9-4. The Indiana points from Edwards on a jumper, and free throws from Keith Smart, who has it right baseline on top. And the shooters touch. The good shooters get those kind of rolls, and Jay Edwards shooting 53% from three-point range.
Yeah, yesterday in practice, how many did he make in a row? Jay, we were watching Edwards shoot, and we counted 17 straight shots from the three-point area that he made.
Good body control. Peter Wolford hanging in the air. At 6'5", 230, he's a block, but he also has a good leaping ability and some quickness. Richmond by 4, 11-7. Smart, baseline left, lobs it over the big man. Isle had it, lost it, and a big collision between Keith Smart and Scott Stapleton, who's holding his face.
Well, I think they just straight collided. Stapleton hit his head straight against Smart. Hope he's all right. He's getting up. Good sign. Got right back up.
He was also called for the foul. So 14:49 left. Richmond by 4. A timeout on the floor. And there's your score. Spiders 11-7.
At Floyd Memorial Hospital, this is how we like to see our children: happy, healthy, full of life. They represent our society's future. Take the time to have your child examined by your family physician or pediatrician through an annual health checkup.
The car you're about to see has more standard features than any other car in its class. The 1988 Tracer for $79.99 at Bluegrass Lincoln Mercury, like multi-port fuel injection, overhead cam, McPherson strut front suspension, high-tech sophisticated engineering at a price you want, including the AM/FM stereo. The Tracer, only $79.99 at Bluegrass Lincoln Mercury. Bluegrass Lincoln Mercury, across from Bluegrass Isuzu.
Dale and Mary Arvin say,
come on over and see for yourself.
We're Southern Indiana's largest hobby shop.
Arvin's Hobby Center in Clarksville carries the largest selection of turbocharged radio-controlled cars, airplanes, boats, helicopters, electric trains, car-crushing trucks, plus the most complete line of parts and accessories. Endless gift-giving ideas at Arvin's Hobby Center, 140 East Maple Court in Clarksville, just off Eastern Boulevard.
I shop here myself.
Arvin's Hobby Center.
5:11 into the game. Richmond on top over Indiana by a score of 11-7. The NCAA is conducting research during this tournament, and we'd like your participation. Would you like to see more women's basketball on television? If your answer is yes, dial 900-260-2221. If no, 900-260-2222. Each call will cost you 60 cents. On the Indiana offensive baseline, back to action. Hoosiers will keep control. Richmond 4 of 8 from the field. Hoosiers are 2 out of 5. Out on top it goes to Lyndon Jones, and the Indiana offense so far pretty much Jay Edwards.
Well, they better find Edwards on this zone. They're back in the zone, but they'll extend to Edwards, and that should open it up inside for Garrett.
Pete Smart, left wing, familiar spot for him. He has 4, averaging 13. Pete's had a good shooting season. He's over 50%, and it's 11-9. On the left side, here's Rice. Count it for 3. Rodney Rice is 2 for 2 from three-point range. He's a senior guard from Temple Hills, Maryland. 13-9. Must have been a two-pointer, Coach. They only gave him 2.
It was definitely 2.
I saw the official raise his hand, but he was doing it because he was near the line and wanted us to know that he had only 2. And Lyndon Jones has his first basket.
Hanging with them tough so far is Richmond. Of course, Richmond seated a lot lower than Indiana. Good defense there by the Hoosiers. Now they need to push it up the court.
Turnover number 2 by Richmond. Alley-oop at the other end, and Smart flying in from the right wing.
Ooh, I like that.
So does Bob Knight.
Yeah,
Dick Tarrant raised his arms to his team and said, where was the D? It's tied at 13.
Well, he was worried about the transition. They're playing 3 guards, and I think Indiana's got to look to push it when they have it up the floor, and they did that time and got the easy basket. Smart's a terrific athlete.
Atkinson being watched by Keith Smart. Tough man-to-man defense. All 3 perimeter players out there defending against 2. Stapled and traveled all over the place. He left the floor, saw there was nothing there, came down and traveled. Turnover number 3. And Steve Isle will bring it up with help from Lyndon Jones as the Hoosiers now have a chance to lead for the first time. Dick Tarrant's team moved out to a quick 5-zip lead. They headed to 9-4. Indiana has come back to tie. Look at the quick steps with the ball of Keith Smart, who already has 8 points. There's something about this tournament that gets him lit up.
One thing, too, that you notice right away that Richmond's trying to do is they're trying to concentrate so much on Edwards that they're opening up lanes for Smart, and they're taking their chances, and so far it hasn't worked because Smart's really hurt him with his shooting.
It looks like away from the ball, Dean Garrett has been called. A little shoving there taking place between Garrett and Peter Wolfik. It'll be Garrett's first. Into the ball game for Richmond is Mike Wienecke, 42, a 6'8" junior from Richmond. Wienecke gives them a good backup at power forward and center. He's got a good touch in the paint, but he's in there to bang, Dan, and he likes to get the boards and hit them hard from the right side. Nicely done there. Rodney Rice, 7 points for him.
Richmond making all the shots they have to stay in it. Back at the zone they go again. They're doing a good job of not allowing the ball to go to Garrett, but they're giving up a lot of penetration.
Jones penetrating, missing, but Steve Isle, a 6'6" senior from Hamilton, Ohio, right there with the follow. Isle averaging just 4 points a game, but he's not out there to score. That's a bonus when he does. And then on his back, it might have been Stapleton with his second foul.
Was Stapleton that time over the back. Bob Knight did not get off to a great start in this game, but his team has responded, and I thought adjusted well to the different defenses so far that Richmond's thrown against him.
His team also did not get off to a very good start in the Big Ten, as Eric English, a 6'2 junior guard out of Mebane, North Carolina, checks in. Stableman sits down with no points and 2 fouls. Indiana 1-4 in the Big Ten. Bob Knight said yesterday that his team forgot about their goal of winning the Big Ten after about 2 weeks of the season.
That was real quick after
Their
that.
next goal was making the NCAA. They've done that. And at the defensive end for Richmond, Mike Wienecke trying to guard Dean Garrett. Called for a foul away from the ball. Dick Tarrant, meanwhile, considers it for his team a, quote, great opportunity to play Indiana. Of course, they've done it before. Third time the teams have met in 5 years in either the NCAA or the NIT. Look at the penetration of Lyndon Jones. Garrett skying to rebound the miss, and then traveling on Eric English as the Hoosiers get tough even after losing the offensive rebound.
Yeah, I thought it was a great effort, though, and Dick Tarrant has to be happy with it, with his club going after the ball there, but they pick up the travel. There's the lob and a dunk again. Come on.
Keith Smart into double figures, plus he drew a foul, and he is psyched. And so is the Indiana bench. They've seen some fireworks from their 6'1 senior from Baton Rouge so far.
Take a timeout, guys.
Yep, Richmond wants one. Indiana trailed by 5. Now they lead by 4. Timeout on the floor with the score. Indiana 19, Richmond 15.
When your office typewriter or computer goes down, can you afford the secretarial downtime that goes with it? Paris Office Systems doesn't think so, and their staff of factory-trained service technicians doesn't either. That's why repairs to your IBM equipment get their prompt attention to get it back to you in the shortest possible time. That's service you can rely on. At Paris Office Systems, 700 Pearl Street, New Albany. Call 944-7827.
At Clapp, we're interested in selling Oldsmobiles, and we're ready to deal. We want to make this a record-breaking month, so come take advantage of dealing with the friendly people at Clapp Oldsmobile. The savings are waiting for you on all our Oldsmobile models, like the all-new Cutlass Supreme, Cutlass Sierra, and Olds 88. You won't want to buy an Oldsmobile without talking to us at Clapp. It's just a short drive over to Clapp Oldsmobile on Highway 131 in Clarksville. Come on, Louisville. Cross the bridge to lower prices.
Want a better-looking lawn and garden? Then before you start, make a stop at Levy's. Greenview Crabicide Green is the crabgrass preventer and lawn fertilizer. Get it at Levy's for just $9.98 after rebate. And look to Levy's for Lawn Boy mowers with powerful 2-cycle engine and rear bagger, only $2.89. You save $80. After all, this stuff doesn't grow on.
Whether you're fixing it or growing it, Levy's helps you do it right.
Hoosiers on top by 4 over Richmond. We played 8 minutes and 11 seconds, and this telecast is presented by authority of the NCAA. Any use of this program without written consent is prohibited. The announcers for this program have been approved and contracted by NCAA Productions. Bob Carpenter with Dan Belwamini, Hartford, and it's Keith Smart at the line looking for his 11th point. Woolfolk just drew his 2nd foul. That will be a factor in the ball game, as Smart has 11, and he is now a guy who scored 9 of Indiana's first 13 points.
In fact, they had to come out with Woolfolk, so they've got Kratzer and Wienecke in there at the same time, so they're going to lose a little offensive punch. And they're going to need their outside guys to make a few shots.
Rice dumping it in, getting it back from Wienecke, skying for a 3-pointer. Rodney Rice is 2 for 2 from that range. He, too, is into double figures. It's 20-18.
That kind of tournament so far for Rodney Rice.
This is Smart. Back to Jones. The steal by Ken Atkinson. Keying the break, feeling his way through. Smart from behind, fouling him.
Good defensive play that time by Atkinson. He might have hurt his, looks like he's holding his wrist as he's getting up.
We got some real streaks going here. Atkinson leading that break.
Good steal that time by Atkinson. Now Smart's going to come from behind, but Atkinson definitely knows what to do with the ball as he gets in the lane. He's checking shot or pass, but gets fouled from the back by Smart.
Smart has scored 9 of Indiana's last 13 points, and Rodney Rice has scored the last 7 for Richmond. A sideway look at the basket by Atkinson. who shoots 73% from the line.
It's amazing how well your wrist can get, though, when you have to go to the line to shoot. I mean, you really got to be down not to go up there and say, Coach, I'm hurt, I can't shoot the ball. I mean,
that's right.
All the shooters want to go up there and get it up.
There's Benji Taylor, a 6'2 junior from Jacksonville, North Carolina. Atkinson gets a breather after being pounded to the floor a moment ago. Indiana has done a good job after playing defense. They've turned it into 7 points off turnovers. 20-20 is the score as we approach the halfway point in the first half. We're about 50 seconds away from that.
Really spreading the zone now. 2-3 zone matchup, but it's going to open for... I think they're going to have a chance to get it inside, because look how far that defense is extending.
Garrett really working hard away from the ball against Wienecke, and then going right in for a bit of penetration was Jay Edwards, and he has 7. Rodney Rice, no way from three-point range that time. Lyndon Jones keying to break. Keith Smart with that big first step. Beautiful rotation on the jumper, and Smart, averaging 13, has already reached that level.
I think these numbers are too high for Dick Tarrant. The game is going, the tempo's just too great for him. He needs to maybe control a little bit more, but Indiana's doing an excellent job in the open court. There's a difficult shot at times.
Kratzer, he's looked good so far. He has 6. Nice jump hook with the right hand there. He made the Colonial Athletic Association all defensive and all academic teams this season.
He's one of the guys that held David Robinson down and did an excellent defensive job on Robinson when he was at Navy.
This team beat David Robinson in Navy 3 consecutive years using Kratzer and Wolfuk. Little give and go there. Smart working it with Garrick, and a good defensive play by Mike Wienecke in the paint. But Indiana worked the give and go beautifully there, Dan.
Yeah, very unselfish by Garrett. Now, Dean Garrett has not scored. Now, most guys that have not scored would try to get this shot up. Instead, Garrett, good pass in there, and there's a good defensive play. That's why Indiana wins a lot of games. Good team basketball and unselfishness that time by Dean Garrett.
Officials checking something on the other side at the scorer's table. Teams are warming things up. Indiana shooting up in the 60s. So is Richmond.
Most of Richmond's shots, though, have come from the perimeter, where Indiana's had a lot of shots around the basket. They need to reset that 45 and bring it down to 28 where it was.
9:35 first half. 24-22 Indiana. Smart. That was a pretty good grab just to find that pass, which was behind him from Jay Edwards. And Keith Smart is having a Final Four first half this afternoon in Hartford.
He's not doing too bad. He's only got 14 in the first half. There's still 9 minutes to go.
Bob Knight had some interesting thoughts on him during his press conference yesterday about the shot, the one that won the final last year and beat Syracuse, and another traveling call. Eric English a bit tentative as he got down to the baseline. 5 turnovers against Richmond. Dick Tarrant puts the call into his starting guards. So checking back in will be Ken Atkinson and Scott Stapleton. There's Atkinson, number 10. He's the playmaker.
It's quite a thing to live with, though, for the whole season, as you alluded to, Bob, when you make that final shot. He said it would have been a lot better if Alford might have made it, because it would have been his senior year. And, of course, he leaves on a high note. But Smart has to come back and did have a good year for Bob Knight. Up and down a little bit, but he's played well at the end of the year.
Lyndon Jones, the Hoosier that sat down. 44 is Joe Hillman, a junior guard from Glendale, California. From the right side, it won't go for Smart. Scrambling underneath is Todd Jedlow, who just checked in. He lost control, and the fouls.
Well, they had 2 different calls. Ron Labatich on the outside had the call first. He might have had a foul.
And I'll tell you, this one isn't going to help Dick Tarrant in Richmond, because it's number 3 on Scott Stapleton. And if they are to compete with Indiana and defend Jay Edwards, Stapleton is going to have to find a way to stay in the game, but he is gone. 8:53 before halftime with his 3rd foul. He'll be replaced by number 30, Eric English. So Jadlow, along with Hillman, flanking Dean Garrett rather, for Indiana. They dump it inside. Jadlow with a great fake. And Todd Jedlow, a 6'9 junior out of Salina, Kansas. Red shirt last year, but this season he started 10 games, and he's a pretty good free throw shooter himself. Had a stretch of 22 in a row.
Well, Richmond's got some real defensive problems now. If Jadlow really comes to life, with Garrett and Jadlow inside, they have a terrific size advantage, and I'm sure we'll try to get the ball around the post as much as possible.
Kratzer at the high post. Atkinson and the jumper. It won't go for Eric English. Kratzer scrambling for a loose ball. A slap by Garrett, but Kratzer still snuck it by him. Steve Kratzer, averaging 8, already has 8. He had 13 rebounds in the conference tournament championship game. And here's Smart. Too high off the glass. Garrett looked like he might grab an easy 2, but he couldn't find the handle. The possession will belong to Richmond. You know, we talked about Kratzer's rebounding. He already has 5 in this game, 4 of them at the offensive end for Dick Tarrant. Mike Wienecke took a seat, and Peter Wolfick with 4 points and 2 fouls is back in.
Yeah, Keith Smart that time with a jump hook. Garrett just couldn't hold the ball. Dean Garrett's not had an especially good half, has not scored, and has not been able to offensive rebound it. And I really think he's going to have to come to life if Indiana's going to put any distance between themselves and the Richmond Spiders.
Right now, just 4 points separate the teams. A right side jumper from Rodney Rice, unable to go. It'll stay with the Spiders, who went 15-14 a year ago, 24-6 this year with an 11-3 conference record. Indiana, 15 from the back court, all 15 from Keith Smart. Rice missing again. He's cold. Wolfick rebounding. Rice to Wolfick in front of Jadlow and Garrett, who blocks it. Atkinson about 14 feet away. Picked up a loose ball. But Garrett, the blocker, sending a message to the Spiders, you're not going to come into my paint and take those kind of shots.
Yeah, good block. The only problem was, as Bob Knight was telling his club, look, when we block it, let's go get it. Let's not just stand there and let it go back to the other team, and they shoot the jumper.
Hillman for Smart, dumping it for Garrett. Kratzer behind him. The jumper is short, and it's 6 foot. Ken Atkinson skies for the defensive board, and Richmond has a chance to tie. 6:40 remaining, first half, 28-26, Indiana. The Hoosiers this year tied, well, right behind Iowa and Illinois, who tied for 3rd. Indiana 5th in the Big Ten at 11-7.
Looks like they want to use a little clock, and I thought Dick Tarrant's club would use a lot more of the 45-second clock, but now they've closed it to 2, and the shot clock's down to about 12, and I'm sure they'll start. This is the kind of possession they were looking for. Be a big lift if they can score on this possession.
Atkinson penetrating. Shot clock to 5 as Wolfick goes in the air. And the official, Ron Labadich, is pointing at Jay Edwards.
That's the kind of effort that they wanted. Try to use as much of the clock, as Bob Knight's going to bring Garrett over and try to talk to Garrett about maybe offensive rebounding a little bit more. He needs the big guy to get involved. But give the Spiders a lot of credit. They're collapsing on the defense. They've given up some outside shots. Indiana started hot, but they cooled off a little bit, and now's the time for the big guys of Indiana to go to work.
Wolfick, a mediocre free throw shooter, 59%. But now he's 3 for 3 this afternoon. Good rotation. Has it down. He has 6. Wienecke will check back in for Richmond. Wolfick with 6 points, but still nursing those 2 fouls. Takes a seat with 6:08 left. The game is tied at 28.
Yeah, fouls are a big problem for Richmond. Not a very deep club, and if they get in foul trouble and get some of their key people out of the game, then they've got some severe headaches.
Garrett on top for Edwards. Little off with that one. Garrett stretching for the loose ball. Officials are a bit uncertain. One looks at the other, and they award it to Indiana.
Good effort, though, by both clubs. Richmond gets a lot of loose balls, and that one goes out of bounds. Good call by the official. It was off for Richmond.
Edwards doing a 360. And then maybe trying to follow his own shot with an offensive rebound foul. It would be his second.
Edwards going on his own a little bit too much there. He's using some spinner moves to the hoop. Dick Tarrant says that a way to screen out, guys. Indiana's 6th team foul. Both clubs with 6 now, so it's 1-on-1 from here on out.
You might have noticed Dick Tarrant wearing his NCAA credential on his left breast pocket. I guess Bob Knight didn't need one. They've seen him at the NCAA a lot before, but Coach Tarrant felt like maybe he needed his badge to get into the building, and certainly deserves to be here with a record of 24-6.
What you're saying is Knight's recognizable.
Exactly.
I think everybody knows who he is.
And there's a pretty recognizable three-pointer from Rodney Rice, his third of the afternoon, and Richmond with that three takes the lead. 5:20 before halftime. He's 3 out of 4 from that range. And underneath, it looks like a foul drawn because of Garrett's involvement in the Indiana offense.
Yeah, Dick Tarrant didn't like the call, but those are the kind of things I really think Indiana has to do. Get it inside, try to get him in foul trouble, make Richmond play some defense around the basket. Don't live with the perimeter shot. And Garrett's got to get the ball and be assertive inside and take it strong to the hoop.
Dean Garrett's the only Indiana player who averages more than 29 minutes a game playing time. Front end of a 1-and-1, not there, but Jadlow brings down the chandelier. Off the bench, Jadlow has 4. Indiana back to within 1.
What a lift Jadlow's given him. Miss the outside shot, just get it and dunk.
Eric English, that'll be something Richmond may have to deal with. Jadlow at least has the 4 points and 3 offensive rebounds.
And that's the key thing, Bob. 3 offensive rebounds, and that's the area where I think they can really hurt him is on the offensive boards.
And at the other end, Richmond has 7 offensive rebounds. Indiana 3 defensive rebounds. So the Spiders have been all over the offensive glass. Hillman playing tough D on Rodney Rice. Turnover, Smart gets control. Over the baseline, belonging to Richmond as Indiana had trailers on the play, but they couldn't come up with possession, and we'll have a timeout on the floor. So a timeout on the floor with the score, Richmond 31, Indiana 30. Back with more after these words from your local stations.
Inventory reduction sale now at Stouts RVs. The complete line of holiday ramblers, Airstream motorhomes and trailers, Winnebago motorhomes from $28,500, Fleetwood RVs, Southwinds from $29,000, Jayco Minis from $22,000, and trailers from $5,900. Get your best deal now from the best RV dealer in the Midwest.
After the sale is done, Stouts RV. Service is #1.
If your driveway needs repair, call the Asphalt Driveways Company for a free estimate. They'll do the job right, and they guarantee their work and materials for 1 full year. Whether you need your existing asphalt drive sealed or a complete paving job, call the professionals, the Asphalt Driveways Company, 361-0774. Call now for your free estimate. It's easy to pay for your paving project because we accept MasterCard or Visa. Call 361-0774 now.
Schmidt Furniture is celebrating St. Patrick's Day with a 5-day sale. Now through 9 p.m. Monday, you can find tremendous savings in every department of their 4 big floors. Look for the special green tags for big savings on all brand-name recliners, beautiful lighted curio cabinets with glass shelves, big reductions on all flat-top and roll-top desks in handsome oak wood, savings on sofas, hideaway beds, and the popular incliners. This St. Patrick's Day sale absolutely ends 9 p.m. Monday, so hurry to Schmidt Furniture and save on the area's largest selection of quality brand-name home furnishing.
Richmond on top, 31-30. Rodney Rice with a 3-pointer a moment ago. And then the Hoosiers coming back for a couple. Here's Keith Smart keying the steal and the fast break.
Yeah, that time they ran it all the way down to about 10 seconds. Smart with the steal. Had some trailers. Surprised he didn't look for them. Richmond did a good job of recovering on defense. The missed shot.
Both teams shooting in the 50s. Richmond 52%, Indiana 54. Rebounding stats for you. Great drive there. Mike Wienecke, his first 2, he averages 7. The 6th man on this 5-man Richmond team, but it's a great chance to contribute off the bench. Lyndon Jones driving. Left side, Smart. Took that big first step and looked, but didn't like what he saw. So they keep it alive. Right side for Hillman.
And Hillman's got to look at the basket a little bit.
Yeah, he was a great scorer in high school out in California, wasn't he? 41 points a game his senior year.
Scored a lot of points, and with Jay Edwards out of the game, I'm sure they're going to stay in this zone and try to play good position defense. Good tip again by Smart. The zone is not a great rebounding defense because you don't have man-to-man responsibilities. It's hard to screen guys out, and that time Smart got through the traffic to make the tip.
Smart has 17 of Indiana's 32. on the Spiders. Winecki, his second.
It's going to be a shooting situation. It's going to be 1-on-1, so Indiana now with a chance to take the lead.
18 fouls on Richmond. So Richmond with 18 fouls, Indiana with just 6. Todd Jadlow shooting a 1-and-1. Jadlow's come off the bench and already has reached his season average of 5 points. He's 2 of 3 from the field, 3 offensive rebounds, and that free throw.
Yeah, he's been 6. He's been a key player, Bob, for Indiana. He's come in and given them a big lift. But Richmond's played an outstanding first half. Good transition and score.
Eric English averaging just 3. English is a backup at the 2-guard small forward spot. They got it down the floor in a hurry that time and beat the Hoosiers to the jumper. Lyndon Jones on Atkinson. Here's Hillman shoveling for Smart, down deep for Garrett. Popped away, and it belongs to the Spiders in blue. Bob Knight, 3 national championships, 76, 81, and 87. The Hoosiers now, under Knight, have made 12 NCAA appearances. Illinois in the first half over Texas San Antonio by 4. That's in the Southeast Regional.
What a defensive effort, though, on that last sequence by Richmond. They're doing a good job of negating the ball into the post, and they've done the job on Garrett. Garrett has been very quiet. And give Richmond a lot of credit.
Illinois and Texas San Antonio playing at Cincinnati today. The drive by Atkinson, drew the foul, couldn't hit the shot. And the official is pointing at Lyndon Jones. It would be his second. 17 foul against Indiana. 2:51 before halftime. Richmond 35, Indiana 34.
He does kind of stand sideways on the line. I mean, he's almost pointing the other direction and then comes back to shoot it. And doesn't look like he's used to missing many either.
Stepped away from the line, received the ball, and got back up there. He makes roughly 3 out of every 4, and that's exactly what he's done here this afternoon. 5 points on the day for Atkinson. And again, to the scorer's table goes the official, John Clougherty, checking things over there. It's Hillman, Jones, Smart, Jadlow, and Garrett for Indiana. Dean Garrett still scoreless. 2:45 before halftime, and a good steal. Rodney Rice at midcourt for Richmond. 5 Indiana turnovers. Out on top, it's Atkinson, being watched there by Lyndon Jones. They dump it for English, and back to Atkinson. I'd like to have him handle the basketball. Jadlow looking at Winecki, and then coming baseline left for the jumper. Rodney Rice, he has 15. Smart has 17. So the senior guards are battling here in the first round of the NCAA.
And Richmond's got a 4-point lead. Again, sagging off and giving the outside shot. They're giving up a lot of penetration. And Indiana's going to have to keep doing that because you can't get the ball inside.
Lyndon Jones has 4. He's a 51% shooter as a freshman. And a little double dribble there as Eric English looked up and didn't see his teammate coming to the ball the way he liked. Did a little stutter dribble, and that's turnover number 8 for Dick Tarrant's Richmond Spiders out of the Colonial Athletic Association. Indiana has outscored them by a 3-1 ratio off turnovers. Here's Hillman squaring up. Garrett, and he was bumped hard there by Eric English. Dean Garrett obviously had position. English got there late. Talk about a mismatch. 6'2" against 6'10", and he also gives away about 45 pounds.
I thought it was a good call. Garrett went for the ball that time, and the little guy English came in and bounced him around, and there was definite contact. Now Garrett's got to go to the line to make some free throws. Richmond's really sagging on that 2-3. They're not guarding Smart on the perimeter. They're sagging off of him. They're trying to play front and back at Garrett, and it has worked.
Dean Garrett, a first-team all Big Ten performer this year. 16 points and 8 rebounds a game. Both Indiana leading figures. 55% from the field. Number 1 in the league in blocks. And now 1 out of 3 from the line today. It's a 1-point Richmond lead. We're in the last 1:38 of the first half. Lemecki from Atkinson. Down deep, Kratzer. He's had a great first half.
Yeah,
he's into double figures with 10.
Kratcher's not only had a good offensive half, I think he's had a better defensive half. Dean Garrett's got 1 point, and he's done the job keeping the ball away and rebounded. Kratzer's been the key guy, really, for Richmond, along with the outside shooting of Rice. Look at that.
Smart offensive foul coming from behind Eric English. You know, Keith Smart made an unbelievable athletic move just to get to that ball and get it anywhere near the iron. But he had to foul to get there.
I don't think Knight can believe it either, because there's the over-the-top goes Smart to make the foul. And they said, Frank Bassoni said there was contact. That's going to be a big play because you shoot it at the other end. So it could be a 4-point swing for the Spiders.
At the line, Eric English. He's known as a defensive catalyst off the bench. Dick Tarrant, he has 3 points here in late first half action. Dean Garrett scoreless, or rather with 1 free throw, scoreless from the field. Takes a seat, and Steve Isle, who started the game, is back in there for Indiana. English has 4. It's Richmond by 5, 42-37, 105 left.
Now, last time they went into this press, they got a steal. So Richmond likes to change it up. They show you a lot of different looks defensively. Back in their zone this time. Now they may extend a little more in the zone because Garrett's out of the game, although Jadlow has hurt him inside.
For the 3rd time, Richmond leads by 5. Jadlow working there against Kratzer. Spider fans thought that it was a clean block. Instead of foul, it'll be Kratzer's second. Richmond moved out to a 5-0 lead. Also led 9-4, now 42-37.
Jadlow inside makes a nice pump fake. And I thought he did get a lot of ball. Good defensive play. And it didn't look like there was a lot of contact. Kratzer, excellent defensive player, and that's a guy they can ill afford to lose. Picks up his second foul. I wouldn't be surprised to get him out of the game right now. With 50 seconds to go, don't let him get his 3rd. Get him out of there.
That may be what's happening. You heard someone holler sub. 41, Hank Dudek, a 6'7" freshman from Jesuit High School in Dallas, replaces Steve Kratzer. Meanwhile, Jadlow, an outstanding free throw shooter. A streak of 22 straight that ended in the month of January. Went 1 for 2 that time, and Richmond with the ball in good shape. 40 seconds now before halftime, leading by 4. Atkinson penetrating, and he has 7.
Surprised he went all the way to the basket that time. I thought they might run the shot clock all the way down and take the last shot. Atkinson just went right to the hoop. It's a little surprising, Bob, with a 6-point lead. I think they've stunned these people here. And Bob Knight said this was going to be a very difficult game for his team. Had a lot of respect for Richmond, and he was right. Now Indiana going to try to play for the last shot.
You can see the Richmond players up off the bench, standing, wanting some defense as the clock is down to 10. Lyndon Jones handling it. Jadlow looking for Hillman. Down deep. Triple team. Block. Smart trying to get it back. Clock runs to 0, and the first half is over. Richmond has controlled it for most of the first half. That is the end of the first 20 minutes. With the score, Richmond 44, Indiana 38. We'll be back after this message and a word from your local station. This is an NCAA Productions telecast.
I keep reading in the newspaper about people who've ruined or ended their lives through alcohol or drug abuse. Many times these people say that they've been introduced to these killers by family or friends. I wonder how anybody who really cares could do this to someone that they care about. Is this the kind of person that you want to be or be around? Real friends don't give drugs to friends.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
To make a superior biscuit, Hardee's relies on advanced technology, like our automatic buttermilk processor. Heavy equipment. Meticulously formulated components. At Hardee's, our biscuits are made totally from scratch by the most complex piece of machinery known. Hardee's Rise and Shine biscuits. Get them with eggs, hash browns, and sausage hammer bacon in our big country platter. It's the least we can do to win you over.
The ultimate furniture sale is going on now at Value City Furniture.
Nobody beats these sale prices, and here's proof.
David, starting only $77.
Rattan peacock chairs or brass-plated lamps, your choice $19.
Putback sleeper sofa, not $500, only $298.
Five-piece brass and glass dinette, not $300, only $128.
Trailer designer sofa, not $600, only $388.
All wood five-piece bedroom set, not $1,400, only $698.
Look for this circular for the ultimate store-wide savings, the ultimate furniture sale at Value City Furniture.
We'll be at the Schaefer's, okay?
Remember, no parties.
Sure, Dad. Yes, they're gone. Come over.
Let's start it. Bring out the party. Let's break it out now. Coca-Cola Classic.
I can't believe they weren't home.
Great. Just great.
It's halftime here in Hartford. Richmond of the Colonial Athletic Association on top of the Big Ten's Indiana Hoosiers. The defending national champions down by 6 at the half, 44-38, and the battle of centers has gone the way of the Spiders. Dan?
Sure has, and of course, Kratzer inside has done an excellent job, and Garrett has not had the kind of half that I'm sure he or Bob Knight's happy with. Kratzer, really known as a defensive specialist, has shown a lot of offensive punch, and I think that's one of the real big factors why Richmond's ahead in this game.
Well, you take the backcourt and match them up together, and they come out pretty much the same. Keith Smart has 17 points today. Rodney Rice has 15. So down deep is the difference right now. And from what I've read and what I know about the Indiana basketball program, the locker room is probably a rather quiet place right now, with Coach Knight talking to his assistants about what needs to be done, and something does need to be done.
Yeah, there's going to be some counseling and guidance going on in the locker room, and you can bet that Bob Knight is going to try to figure out some ways to get Garrett a little bit more involved and try to get the ball inside. You can't live on the perimeter. They were fortunate to make the outside shots. They're good in the transition, but the game will be won on the boards, and that's where Indiana's going to have to go to work.
And Richmond hanging in there despite not a big first half from Peter Wolfick.
No, not a big half from him, but they got help from some of the other players, and I think their defense and their change-ups have really caused Indiana some problems, and that's why they're ahead in the game. Good effort by Richmond to be on top.
By 6, they're on top at this point, 44-38. And we'll return with more halftime activities after these messages on the NCAA Productions telecast.
What's he doing now?
He just keeps looking funny at the cigar.
But it's a Dutch Master Zero Producto.
How come?
Most cigars don't use natural leaf wrappers anymore, but Garcia Vega still does. Garcia Vega gives you the rich tobacco taste of natural leaf wrappers. Hey, why don't you ring this guy's chimes and tell me he needs an honest cigar?
And now there's Garcia Vega Whiffs, another honest cigar.
He's doing it again.
It's typing made easy with the IBM Personal Typing System from Paris Office Systems. Put solutions at your fingertips with this powerful and easy-to-use typewriter, word processor, computer, all in one. Let Paris show you how this marvelous new IBM product can increase your typing productivity with memory and power in reserve. Get a fully productive day with a personal typing system from Paris Office Systems in New Albany. Call 944-7827.
Dale and Mary Arvin say,
come on over and see for yourself.
We're Southern Indiana's largest hobby shop.
Arvin's Hobby Center in Clarksville carries the largest selection of turbocharged radio-controlled cars, airplanes, boats, helicopters, electric trains, car-crushing trucks, plus the most complete line of parts and accessories. Endless gift-giving ideas at Arvin's Hobby Center, 140 East Maple Court in Clarksville, just off Eastern Boulevard.
I shop here myself.
Arvin's Hobby Center.
Hello, I'm Oscar Robertson, and I love basketball. As you may know, this is the 50th anniversary of the Final Four tournament. In this 50th year, the NCAA has commissioned a one-of-a-kind real-life movie. It is called Final Four the Movie. That's action footage dating back to 1939. And the story is told by people who made basketball history.
Score tied, just seconds left in overtime. Jump ball controlled by the Utes. Over it goes to Arnie, back to Herb Wilkinson. Long one, he got it! North Carolina leads by 4. Pass goes to Elson into Leneski. Leneski looking for Chamberlain, gets it into the big man. He turns, moves into the center, shoots, scores! Chamberlain shot good, 52-51. Robertson seconds to go. Loyola moves the ball toward the basket. Feed is off to Harkness. Harkness at the baseline. Shot. No, it's a pass to Hunter. Hunter's shot is up. It's no good. Rouse hits it in. Loyola wins at the buzzer. Loyola wins. Cinderella Loyola in the Final Four for the first time. They've done it.
Anytime Larry Bird touches it, there are about 3 people in his area. Bird, Johnson, 3-on-1. Here it comes. The alley-oop to Greg Kelser. Got to drive to the basket. It's down to 7 seconds.
You can see the time. Wittenberg. Oh, that's a long way.
They won it! On the dunk!
You look in the dictionary, look it up, it'll hope it'll say NCAA tournament.
It's the single most exciting event in American sport.
Excitement, fun, enjoyment, memories.
You see the players and you see the look in their faces. They just know that it's that they're involved in something that they will remember the rest of their lives.
It's a terrific movie. All the great moments and players are here. What a treat for sports fans.
Order your copy of Final Four, the movie, today for $39.99 and save $10 off the retail price. Use your Visa or MasterCard and call 1-800-292-NCAA. That's 1-800-292-NCAA. Or send a check or money order for $39.99 to Final Four, the movie. P.O. Box 3395, Champaign, Illinois, 61821.
It is halftime at Hartford, the East Regional. Richmond 44, Indiana 38. And we'll be right back with more halftime activities after these words from your local station.
If your driveway needs repair, call the Asphalt Driveways Company for a free estimate. They'll do the job right, and they guarantee their work and materials for 1 full year. Whether you need your existing asphalt drive sealed or a complete paving job, call the professionals, the Asphalt Driveways Company, 361-0774. Call now for your free estimate. It's easy to pay for your paving project because we accept MasterCard or Visa. Call 361-0774 now.
Are you up to the challenge? The 7-Up College Basketball Championship Challenge. You could win up to $10,000. Just twist the specially marked caps off bottles of any 7-Up brand. Match the winner's score in the April 4th championship game and you win. Just claim your prize through Western Union. There's over 1 million potential winners. So start saving those caps now, because until the final buzzer, it's anybody's ballgame.
Feels so good, 7-Up.
This is McDonald's Quarter Pounder. It costs way over $1. Now, this is Wendy's Quarter Pound Single. It's the same size, comes with lettuce and tomato, and costs under $1. Now, it seems to me that McDonald's just wants more money for their burger, while Wendy's would simply like more customers for theirs. Hey, Wendy's, for under $1, count me in.
The 99-cent Quarter Pound Single from Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
Public notice, open to the public today and tomorrow. Surplus from recent sale at Holiday Inns and Ramada Inns. Brand new 3-piece living room and family room groups from only $188. Free layaway. Brand new 5-piece pit groups from only $238. 4-piece bedroom suits from only $188. Any size mattress set from only $28 each piece. At Nationwide Warehouse, 3921 Produce Road, just off Poplar Level Road near Watterson. Phone 964-0805. Nationwide Warehouse.
Richmond Spiders 44, Indiana's Hoosiers 38 after 20 minutes of play here. First round action, East Regional at Hartford. And now to the court we go, and here's Dan Belwamini.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And of course, who we have is the athletic director at Texas Christian University, Frank Windecker. And Frank, you're also the NCAA representative here in Hartford. A lot of big things going to go on in Kansas City. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the 50th anniversary of the NCAA basketball tournament.
Dan, my pleasure. There'll be 50-plus players and coaches that we will be honored up there with the dinner on Thursday night. And these are the folks that really have made this a great, great spectacle that we now enjoy. There'll also be an exhibit at the Municipal Auditorium depicting the 50-year history of the NCAA. So all in all, it's really going to be really a great event. And the Final Four Foundation's been working on this for a year and getting these players and all in. And Bob Springer's done just a super job in coordinating all that. So we're looking very much and very forward to this.
Now, what are they doing in terms of a Final Four team? Everybody, I see all the newspapers, all these guys are being voted on. They have some terrific players down through the years. So are they going to pick a team?
Yeah, Dan, in concert with USA Today, the balloting's in the papers. Fans have a chance to vote for their MVP that will really make up then an all-time NCAA team over the 50 years. So it's going to be exciting at that last game, the championship game, to find out who those 5 guys are.
All right, thanks a lot, and I know it's going to be a great Final Four, and we'll see you in Kansas City.
My pleasure, Dan. See
All
you
right.
later.
Okay, thanks very much. Now let's go back to Bob Carpenter.
All right, Dan Belwamini, thank you very much. It's Richmond up by a half dozen at the half, 44-38 over Indiana. And we'll be back for the second half of today's game right after these messages.
I came to Ohio State because I loved it. I had to work. I worked on a work program. And I've been very, very grateful for my athletic background because it meant everything to me. We had a fine coach in Mr. Olson, H.G. Olson. And Ole believed that a young man in athletics should have an all-round education. In our days, we had to do what the coach outlined for us, and we did it. So we learned to follow instructions, and we learned to do just what we could. I feel that if it hadn't been for athletics, I really don't know where I'd have been. Success in life is not money. Success in life is how you get along with people, and how people get along with you, and how you respect people, and how they respect you.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
It's the 50th NCAA Basketball Championship. Brought to you in part by Rawlings Sporting Goods, maker of the official ball of the NCAA Basketball Championships, and by Pizza Hut, home of America's favorite pan pizza.
This is Barry Burnson. No, you won't get to watch As the World Turns or Guiding Light because of the basketball game, but don't worry. I'll have a soap opera wrap-up with taped highlights. We'll even throw in some scenes from last night's Knots Landing on Action 11 News at 6.
And we're at halftime at the Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. The halftime score is Richmond 44, Indiana 38. Well, both teams were shooting very well for a while, but the Hoosiers cooled off a bit late in the first half, and Richmond is sizzling right now at halftime, Dan Belwamini.
They sure are. It's unbelievable. They're at 62% field goal percent. Look at their free throws. They haven't done much wrong. I mean, they're 3 for 4 from the three-point area. So Richmond enjoying quite a shooting first half, and that's what they needed to be on top of this fine Indiana ball club.
At the end of the first half, we talked about the matchup down deep. Now let's talk about the matchup in the backcourt with a couple of senior guards. And Keith Smart of Indiana has had a fantastic first half with 17.
Not only with his shooting, but a terrific athlete around the basket. And that time, Edwards makes a perfect pass to Smart, who finishes the play emphatically.
Watch for number 24, Rodney Rice, 15 of his own. He's done all the three-point shooting for Richmond.
Made the big shots. Rodney Rice, good look at the basket. When he squares up and gets a good look at the hoop, he's going to make it.
Well, let's talk about some individual scoring now with the Indiana Band providing some halftime entertainment all the way from Bloomington, Indiana. As you check the scoreboard, 2 players in double figures, Rodney Rice and Steve Kratzer. Then at the bottom of the column, rather surprising to see Stapleton scoreless. He's the only player in the game that really has foul trouble. With 3 early ones, he has not been a big factor. Wolfick in the middle, not a big first half, but he can be big in the second half. Keith Smart, most of the Indiana scoring, no foul trouble, but at the bottom of the column, Dan, a big factor.
Isle and Garrett, the 2 starting, the center and the power forward, pick up 3 points total in the first half, and that's going to have to improve. Jadlaw gave him a lift off the bench, but if Indiana's going to come back and win this game, their big guys inside are going to have to come to life.
Indiana has won the national championship 5 times, 1940 and 1953 under Branch McCracken. And the Hoosiers have also won 3 under Bob Knight in 76, 81, and 87. They're the number 4 seed here in Hartford. But right now, Richmond is the story, seeded 13th and leading by 6 at the half, 44-38. Dick Tarrant has faced Indiana 3 times in the last 5 years. Upset Auburn in the 84 NCAA, then lost to Indiana. Bob Knight's team beat them in the 85 NIT at Bloomington after Dick Tarrant had beaten his alma mater, Fordham, in the first round. Richmond also made the NCAA in 86 and lost in the first round by a point to St. Joe's. Lyndon Jones unable to hit from the left side. Got it back after a touch by Jadlow. The starting lineup's a bit interesting here for Indiana in the second half. Jadlow is in there instead of Steve Isle.
Now they switched because, of course, Jadlow gave a good first half. Now they're back boxing 1, Bob. They're playing boxing 1 on Jay Edwards, and they switched their defense again. They were playing Jay Edwards very tight without the ball, and the rest of the 4 players were in the zone. So another defensive change by Dick Tarrant.
Kratzer was the man blocking Garrett that time. Dean Garrett 0 for 4 from the field, but I don't really remember any easy shots in those 4. They've really been in his face. Richmond by 6. A story developing here in the first round at Hartford, but a long, long way to go in this first round game.
And I look really for Richmond to run a lot of clock, get it to their right players if they can. It's going to be inside to Kratzer to Rice on the perimeter. Woolfolk has to come to life a little bit too for Richmond, but he's very capable.
And you like to see a guy like Garrett struggling offensively come up with a good defensive play like he did there a moment ago, swatting the ball away. Lyndon Jones unable to keep it in bounds, so it still belongs to Richmond. Shot clock is down to 5 as Atkinson drives, and he is hammered. It looks like Jadlow, the man they're pointing at. That would be Todd's first.
Good recognition that time by Atkinson. Now Atkinson was aware of the fact that the shot clock was down and he had to get this up. Now Jadlow comes late. He was not square in front. Referee right on the call and picked up a block. So Atkinson will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. See if they switch the defense the next time down. They stayed in that box and 1, went all the way down and out that time by Atkinson. But this is a club that'll switch on you. The last time it worked, and I really look for him to do it again. See if they come down now and play Jay Edwards man-to-man.
Those 158 assists by Atkinson were a new Richmond sophomore record. So he'll have a lot before his career is over there. A couple of years to go.
Rice playing man-to-man now. They're in the same defense. Box and 1. There's a basket that Garrett needs. That might give him a little confidence.
3 points on the day for Garrett. His first field goal. 45-40 Richmond. A minute 40 into the second half. In the lane. Rice unable to hit. Kratzer, offensive rebound. Garrett the foul. An angry reaction by Dean. He's experiencing some frustration here in the second half.
I'll guarantee you he's not experiencing as much frustration as Bob Knight is right now because the penetration and then no screen on. And look at Kratzer. He's all alone. Kratzer there by himself and does a good job to extend and keep it alive and draw the foul.
Well, if you make your shots, those kind of plays aren't even necessary. Look at the penetration and dribbling and shooting of Peter Woolfolk at 6'5", 230. He's on the board with 8 now, had 6 and 2 fouls in the first half. Dick Tarrant had to kind of baby him a bit so he wouldn't get that 3rd foul in the first half because that could have really hurt the Spiders. Here's Garrett. Kratzer on him from behind. Garrett with 3 follows. Can't get any of them and gets the 4th or 5th touch.
What an effort by Garrett on the offensive board and did not pick up a foul, which was very important. He kept his arm straight up and kept it alive and made the hoop.
He's much bigger than Jerome Lane of Pittsburgh, but he looked like Jerome offensively rebounding that time. Lane likes to tip the ball around until he gets the shot he likes, and that's what Garrett did. He has 5 points and suddenly has come alive. Here's Kratzer down deep.
Force it up there. No foul call. He did the right thing, just couldn't draw the foul.
Hillman with Smart down deep. Help from Jadlow to grab the loose ball. Here's Key Smart driving and throwing one up. Hillman over the top of Kratzer, can't grab it. Indiana very quickly that time down the floor, and Bob Knight stares at the floor on the far sideline. Kratzer today has 8 rebounds in the game, 6 of them offensive. Here he goes with an offensive shot. Hillman had it. Garrett may have tipped it away from him. Jadlow on the floor, and the possession will belong to Indiana.
And that ball's on the ground. Get down after it, and they all did. Dick Tarrant, he's really choreographing some kind of game, and Bob Knight knows his club's only 5 back.
Let me correct the possession. Of course, it belongs to Richmond. Inside, Indiana has an 8-point spread, but that doesn't necessarily mean the big man is scoring those points.
Well, they have an 8-point spread because don't forget, Indiana does play 3 guards. And one of their frontline players, you have to put one of their small guys as a forward. And Smart has a lot of points.
If Stapleton comes alive offensively in the second half, Indiana could be in trouble. That time, though, he missed. He's got great quickness and leaping ability. Hillman from Smart. Hillman couldn't hit the long layup. And Keith Smart comes up limping.
Well, this could be a big blow if Smart is hurt, and he does look like he is. May have pulled his calf muscle.
Looks like he's a little reluctant to straighten out that leg and stretch the right calf.
That was a good open court play that time, and Hillman just couldn't get it home. But look at the rebound. Excellent rebound by Woolfolk. Just kind of pulled that down one-handed, and there's where Smart looked like he was hit on the rebound.
Keith is okay. He'll remain in the game. Bob Knight needs him right now. He's been the bulk of the offense. 17 of Indiana's 42 points. They trail by 5. 3:45 into the second half.
They're sure using that shot clock now. They're trying to run it, to spread it, to run their offense. Maybe go inside to Woolfolk, handle the ball, and see if you can put the ball around the basket.
Well, Dan, that's a key factor that you mentioned at this point, because you said in the first half the tempo really didn't favor Richmond there for a while, but they hung in despite Indiana hurrying things up.
Well, now with the lead, they can get it where they want it. There's just good passing. What a pass by Atkinson. But they got the shot they wanted, and they used the shot clock to get it. And that's what Dick Tarrant felt he had to do to win the game.
Kratzer has 12. Hillman for Jadlow. Kratzer defending him. Nobody he's defended has done much offensively. Jay Edwards has really been quiet since the first couple of minutes of the game.
Well, I thought the boxing one hurt him a little bit. It took Edwards out of the game, and they're not giving him any open shots.
Edwards will throw it in. Jadlow looks up, and he's open for a jumper. A 2-pointer for Todd. He has 9 points. You'd figure on a day when Jadlow comes off the bench with 9, Indiana would be in control, but they're down by 5.
Well, they're taking what the defense will give them. And Richmond is giving Jadlow some shots, but they're not giving shots to Edwards and Garrett. They do not want Garrett to beat him, and they don't want Edwards to make a lot of outside shots, and so far it's worked. Make the players who are not used to scoring score, and you got a chance.
Atkinson, very active with the ball at the point. Stapleton dumped it inside for Rice. Rodney got penetration. He ties Smart for game-high honors, each with 17. Upset brewing, 51-44. Richmond, Garrett in the paint. Double team. They grabbed it away from him. Kratzer finally comes up with it.
Garrett brought the ball down that time, Bob. He's got to keep the ball higher. Once you bring it down, the little guys are going to knock it out of your hands. They're collapsing.
That was Richmond assistant Pat Dennis holding up offense number 10, whatever that happens to be. Jadlow on the floor with the foul. It will be his second. And Richmond has a lot of momentum right now.
Stapleton that time took the pass and made a good move to the basket. Hillman came for the charge. Low, it looked like there was position there.
Looked like Jadlow had
stopped
and was going straight up.
Looked like he had some position that time.
Stapleton scoreless today, averages 8. This guy's not a very good shooter. You watch him during practice and you can tell he loves showtime. He loves to throw the ball around and slam dunk and run around, but the jumper just isn't there, and that time neither was the free throw.
He's not a very good free throw shooter, only about a 51-52% free throw shooter.
His first point of the day, Richmond on top with a timeout on the court with the score. Spiders 52, Indiana 44.
At Pizza Hut, we make it fast.
We have time for lunch.
We make it hot.
It's gonna be hot, right?
And we make it great.
Great.
Making it fast, making it hot, giving it everything we've got. Making your style, give me a smile. Slicing and spicing, cheese and pleasing.
At Pizza Hut, we go all out to make it fast, hot, and delicious.
Making it happen, making your day. Pizza Hut, making it great.
Does car shopping confuse you? If you've shopped, and I have, you'll find the one place where the confusion ends is your Buick dealer. That's why I just bought a brand new Buick Regal. Regal is actually priced under T-Bird and Cougar. The new Regal just looks like it costs thousands more. So don't get confused. Shop where you like, but start at your Buick dealer. The car is Regal, but the price sure isn't.
The great American love belongs to Buick.
Only once before has Indiana been knocked out in the first round. That was a couple of years ago by Cleveland State at Syracuse. And Kratzer is a man who wants to do it to the Hoosiers today. He's playing, well, maybe the game of his life.
Superlative at both ends, really. Kratzer, I'm more impressed with his defensive work than his offensive work, but Garrett has been quiet except for this sequence where he keeps it alive 6 times and finally gets the tap in.
Richmond with a rebounding advantage. There's a board by Wolford. Indiana 3 for 12 from the field in the second half. Richmond not exactly burning things up at 3 out of 9, but enjoying its biggest lead of the game, 8 points, with almost 14 minutes remaining.
Well, they pride themselves in the fact there's going to be a foul by Smart. Richmond prides themselves in the fact that they can hold their opponents to a low field goal percentage during the game, and they like to hold them to 43-44%, and I'm sure they're doing that so far against Indiana.
He's Smart. 3rd foul, so Bob Knight looks down the bench. Way of Lyndon Jones, who will check in momentarily. Stapleton to the baseline.
Passed it to himself. I think he passed that one to himself.
Nothing but net from the outside. A 2-pointer. And Rodney Rice, game high honors now. He has 19. Garrett or Edwards, and now Smart. Edwards has just been dead quiet since the first 5 minutes of the game offensively. Keith Smart gets his 18th and 19th points. So the senior guards are still battling.
See if they use the clock again now. Their possession time has averaged about 28 to 30 seconds in this half. A lot different than the way they started, but the tempo's in their favor, and they've got control a little sooner than they wanted there.
Stapleton unable to hit. Jay Edwards looking for Hillman. Now Garrett at the high pivot. Hillman with one dribble, faking a shot, dumping it right into press row and into the Indiana band. He almost put that one through the bass drum, and Bob Knight is up off the bench once more. They say it was tipped by a Richmond player, so Dick Tarrant's team will set up some more defense here. Joe Hillman will check out, by the way, for Indiana. Number 4, Lyndon Jones, part of that talented freshman tandem of Jones and Jay Edwards, will check back in. Edwards to throw it in.
Good team officiating that time, though, because they switched the call after they got together. They need some of those.
Wow. Edwards for 3. Jay has 10. He's a 53% shooter on the year from that range, and Indiana may need some of that outside stuff to open up a few avenues for number 22 down deep. Rodney Rice missing well off to the side. Garrett ripping down the defensive board, and Indiana off to the races again. Jones for Jadlow. This is Edwards again. Another 3-pointer.
He wanted the ball, didn't he? Edwards was calling for the ball, saying, I got it.
Dick Tarrant wasting no timeout. No time in getting a timeout. He led by 8. Now it's 2. Timeout on the court with the score. Richmond 54, Indiana 52.
Travel through the history of the NCAA Final Four with your own copy of the new 240-page Final Four book. Filled with spectacular photographs, it celebrates the 50th anniversary of this much-loved event. To order your copy, send $39.95 plus $2 shipping and handling to Final Four Book, Host Communications, Sports Division, P.O. Box 1988A, Lexington, Kentucky. 40593-1988. This message furnished by the NCAA.
At Floyd Memorial Hospital, this is how we like to see our children: happy, healthy, full of life. They represent our society's future. Take the time to have your child examined by your family physician or pediatrician through an annual health checkup.
Whether it's a new car, a home improvement, or the vacation of your dreams, come to Citizens Fidelity. We're in the business of helping make dreams come true. Pride in performance. We've built a bank on it. Citizens Fidelity.
Richmond led by 8. Now with a couple of three-pointers by Edwards, it's down to 2. 12-12 remaining. 8 straight points for Indiana.
Pretty good three-point shooting. I mean, Rice 3 for 5, Edwards 3 for 3, and I look for Richmond maybe to go back to that box and one to get up on Edwards the next time down the floor, because Edwards going to be looking to shoot it. He's made 2 consecutive long bombs.
Atkinson around the perimeter of the three-point line. Wolford rather quiet offensively today. He has 8 and now 10. He's picking his spots, but he is producing when called on.
Well, they're not going box and one, but you better be alert to where Edwards is. He's running the baseline. Better extend on that zone.
4-point game as Edwards handles it. Out on top, Smart. Smart took 11 shots in the first 8 minutes of the first half. 2 shots in the first 8 minutes of the second half. He tried to pass it down for Garrett. Stapleton for Atkinson. Ken Atkinson has 10. He's done a good job of running the offense. And Richmond getting a breather at that timeout. 4 unanswered points. Indiana just committed its 8th turnover. But guess what? 3 straight by Edwards. He now has 16. He is shooting the Hoosiers back into the game.
Well, he really wants the ball. There's a foul. They got away with one there. Looked like he hit him and no call.
Smart coming up with a loose ball in the air. With a three-pointer, it could be tied, or the Hoosiers could get to within 1. But they want 3. Little short. Garrett just got away from Kratzer to avoid his 3rd foul. 58-55. 10.5 remaining. The Hartford Civic Center sold out for this very talented East Regional. Atkinson, see you later.
I don't bring that stuff in here. Good help by Garrett on the weak side, and he's come to life in the second half.
Garrett says, you won't make a shot like that in my kitchen, and here he comes.
Garrett, good help that time. Give the little guy Atkinson some credit, though. He tried to take it right in, but it didn't go. The only better thing would have been to Garrett to soft tap it and try to keep it in play instead of knocking it out of bounds. Hard to do, though.
So Richmond keeps the ball with the 3-point lead. Rice down deep. Wolford, he is tough in the paint. Not high enough off the glass with that jumper. Smart kept it alive, and here's Lyndon Jones.
Better get to him. Edwards going to take a look at the hoop. They're not really flying to Jay Edwards, and I think he's really going to make them pay.
Edwards has 9 of Indiana's 17 second-half points. 3 out of 4 from 3-point range. Jones penetrating all the way. Can't get the shooter's roll. Real foul on the way. Looks like Atkinson got him well before the shot.
They get so much penetration on the zone because Richmond is concentrating so much on Garrett inside and Edwards on the perimeter that they leave some openings, and that time Jones just put it on the ground and waltzed in for about a 4-footer. But it's give and take if you're Richmond and you want to give up to the players who they feel have the lowest percentage of hurting them.
Atkinson takes a seat with 10 points. Indiana's in the middle of an 11-4 run. Jones a 61% free throw shooter for Bob Knight. Jones had a big game last Saturday against Iowa. 10 points and 7 assists. The Hoosiers finished strong in the Big Ten. They won 10 of their last 13. You do that in that league, and you're playing with the best in the nation. 11-7, the final record after Indiana started 1-4. Richmond by just one. 9:40 remaining. Winnecke. He has 4. Doing his usual job, the role player off the bench, a little bit of scoring, some rebounding strength.
Winnecke's very solid. Came into the game, and I really think he's given Richmond a lift. Now they're back boxing one. I mean, they're not going to let Jay Edwards just shoot it on the outside. They've got Stapleton just playing him man-to-man. Stapleton's got to keep the ball away from him when he doesn't have it. At 22, Stapleton, a little bumping going on.
Jadlow faked one from 18, all the way for a little lay-in. And Todd Jadlow's into double figures with 11. His high on the season is 12. Way back in the season opener against Miami of Ohio. 60-59. Woolfolk over Garrett. A dozen for the 6'5" senior from Richmond.
He's a good shooter inside. Nice turnaround. Fades away on that turnaround, and it's hard to get to.
Hoosiers down by 3. Smart being watched by Rodney Rice. They've each scored 19 points. Here's Garrett with a turnaround. Smart kept it alive. Garrett thought he was going to dance in for a slam, and somebody got out of his hands on the way with a foul.
Garrett said I wasn't the way up. He said he was shooting, but again, he brought the ball down below his waist and gave the little guys a chance to go in there and get it. Good offensive job, though, by Garrett on the miss. Follow his shot. He didn't stand out there on the tip. He starts flying in, gets the... Now watch him bring it down. You should never bring the ball down. Keep it above your waist. Keep it high so you can make the shot without being fouled.
Yeah, that's why I said he was looking for the slam. He brought it down to take that big jump to slam it home. That's when somebody grabbed it. The foul was on Rice, his first.
A little bumping inside, guys. There's some punching going on inside. Elbows.
That's number 3 on Peter Woolfolk. He got 2 early ones in the first half, and Dick Tarrant was very careful about the way he used his senior forward.
Now off the ball, Woolfolk with a little elbow there on Jadlow. That's the foul. Kind of a forearm. Kind of like, you know, coming through, just forearm shiver him as he's coming through the lane.
Lyndon Jones. This is Edwards back to him. 3-guard offense. Smart is on the right wing. They go straight down to Garrett. 1 turnaround step, and Dean Garrett has 7.
Didn't put the ball on the ground that time. Good power move by Garrett. Turn around, keep it up. He made a solid play there to give Indiana, to bring him within 1.
He only had 1 in the first half, 3 field goals in the second. Richmond 62-61. At the half, they led by 6, 44-38. Winnecke fumbled it, but the official right on the baseline, right on top of the play, Frank Bassoni, thought that it was because he was shoved from behind by Todd Jadlow.
Yeah, there was some pushing inside, and Jadlow makes the contact.
It'll be Jadlow's 3rd.
They need Kratzer. Kratzer comes back in the game, and they need him.
So Winnecke sits down. Kratzer back in. They try to get an easy layup off the inbounds play, and it belongs to Indiana. It was touched by Jones, and then on the baseline by Eric English. Official right on the spot said the ball belongs to the team in white.
Yeah, Indiana plays a lot of man-to-man on the out-of-bounds that time, and both players just went after the ball that was out of bounds to Indiana.
Indiana has not led since it was 34-33. They have a chance now. 2-pointer, Keith Smart, and the Hoosiers are on top 63-62.
Smart's got 21. Great first half, but he's played very well in the second.
Benji Taylor hasn't seen a lot of action today. He dumped it on the right side, and Rice had Edwards all over him. Bob Knight has to like that defense from Jay Edwards. Knight considers him a pretty good defensive player. You got to do both to play for this head coach.
It has been said that you do. You got to play in a defensive end.
Great entry pass. Keith Smart receiving it from Lyndon Jones, and the Hoosiers now have a 3-point lead, and Smart has 23. 6:30 remaining. Indiana's now scored 6 in a row.
They need to go back to what brought them the lead. Kratzer's got to touch it. Rice has to get the ball. Need to go to your better players now.
There's one of them. but Wolford can't get him to fall, and Garrett is now starting to dominate on the defensive glass.
Bring it back out, set it now, run the stuff, bring it out.
Jones for Edwards. These freshmen will be giving Big Ten coaches headaches for a long time. Three-pointer won't go down. Rice finally touches it around the horn to Peter Wolford.
Well, Bob Knight thought there was some contact that time after the shot.
One thing to keep in mind as Richmond approaches their offensive end. Defending is Garrett, 8 rebounds in the second half, only had 2 in the first half. He tips another one, but it goes to Wolford, who smells 2, can't hit, Kratzer underneath. Ball comes loose, Spiders still have it, no foul.
They were all waiting for a whistle, no whistle, keep playing.
Benji Taylor. By the way, Benji usually wears number 11, but his jersey never made it in from the airport.
Yeah, he tricked me.
So he's still got 14 on today.
Yeah, I said, who's 14? Oh, it's Taylor.
Out on top to 24, Rodney Rice. Posting up, Wolford. Yes, and a foul. Big play that the Spiders needed with 5:10 remaining. It's not late in terms of being down by 5, but just to get something going offensively, Dan.
Dean Garrett that time playing straight behind at the post on defense, and they were able to enter the ball to Wolford, who took it to the paint and made a difficult shot.
Garrett his 3rd. Wolford has 14. 4 for 7 from the field since halftime, and a chance to tie this one up. Garrett also has 7 points, 6 of them since halftime.
They needed that shot. I thought that gave them a little bit of momentum because Indiana had put on a little streak and has been playing very well in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Hoosiers keep their lead. 5 minutes remaining right now.
Well, there's some bumping inside. Look at Kratzer and Garrett. They got to call a foul inside. Can't let that go on.
Oh, it goes against Garrett, and Bob Knight cannot believe it. I think the official missed the first one, and then he saw Garrett retaliate a bit, Dan, and that's what he called.
That always happens. So they're bumping and pushing inside, and you almost might have to go double foul there. Call it on both players because they're hitting each other. They get an elbow, but a lot happened before that. Double foul might have been the call.
Richmond 40% in the second half from the line at 2 for 5. Number 4 on Garrett. It may be too late to give him a breather, though.
I think one important factor, too, Bob, is that Richmond's only got 3 team fouls. And, of course, Indiana has 7 or 8, and Richmond's in a one-on-one. But Richmond can come out and take some fouls. Now they've got the little guy, Atkinson, playing smart man-to-man. We'll see if they are straight man-to-man now. Difficult to tell. They may be just straight-up man-to-man with everybody. They are.
Smart against Atkinson. Did he travel, or was there a foul? Away from the ball. It looks like Scott Stapleton of Richmond is 4th. No, it's going to be number 24, Rodney Rice, his 2nd. He was playing right next to Stapleton, and we have an official's timeout on the floor. So, with 4:37 remaining, the score, Indiana 65 and Richmond 64.
At Public Service Indiana, we found another idea that works for Indiana. System GT. It's a geothermal concept which uses temperatures from the earth to heat and cool at the lowest operating cost of any system. Plus, it provides you with an abundant supply of hot water. Owners say geothermal is Indiana's #1 heating, cooling, and water heating idea. For more information on System GT, call 1-800-622-HEAT or your local Public Service Indiana office.
McDonald's presents...
Great news, Fraggles! Greater than a 1 Fraggle ping pong game?
Greater than laundry?
Tell me, Gobo. No, let me guess. No, tell me! Ah! It says...
Kids get one of 4 Fraggle Rock toys when their parents buy them a McDonald's Happy Meal featuring Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock. There's Red Fraggle in a radish, Gobo in a carrot, Moki in an eggplant, or Boober and Wembley in a pickle.
I think I'll capture that and use in something arty. But first, let's party! Hooray!
Get extra savings on Escort and Festiva at Carriage Ford now. Just $99 down delivers. Drive home an '88 Escort for just $99 down and $150 a month. Or put yourself in the hottest new Ford, Festiva. $99 down and only $125 a month. Small on price and big on value. That's Escort and Festiva at Earl Books Carriage Ford. Just $99 down delivers today. Across from the Green Tree Mall in Clarksville.
Really cooled off. Maybe because of the defense of Dean Garrett, Indiana has cooled off Richmond in shooting. 62% first half, 38% now. What about that fourth foul again on Dean Garrett?
What you're getting is a lot of pushing and shoving inside, and the Kratzer's trying to play position defense, and I really thought that's a double foul, but it's a foul that Garrett has to stay away from even having the official call it. He's got 3. He doesn't want 4. He can't get frustrated. He's got to stay in the game mentally, and that's a foul he should not have picked up.
And if folks are wondering, Kratzer has 2. Also, Richmond has 2 timeouts remaining. Bob Knight has saved all 4 of his. 4.5 minutes remaining. There's that cold shooting by Richmond, 38%. Indiana shooting at 48, right about what they shot at halftime.
Well, they made a lot of shots on the perimeter Richmond had in the first half, and they just haven't been able to put those down. Indiana's using a lot of the clock this time as it's down to about 17. See if they go back inside. Garrett's open.
Receives it, turns. It won't fall. Rebound taken down by Scott Stapleton. And Richmond with a chance to lead. And keep in mind, Indiana is in the penalty situation in fouls. The Spiders only have 14 fouls. Wolford going at Garrett and around him. Spider Wolford has 16. Knowing his man had 4 fouls, he played it beautifully.
Smart play that time. Take it to the man who's in foul trouble, and that's Garrett, and they went right to him, and Wolford went right at the basket. Look for him to do that again.
Jones. Ooh, he got a great bounce. Lyndon Jones has 8. How does a ball go that high to the glass and fall right through?
Good shooting test. All of mine used to do that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sure. If you can shoot the ball, they go in. It's radar. See if they go back inside. Garrett back on Wolford.
Instead, a left side jumper. And 12 from Ken Anderson now. He's 3 points over his season average, and Richmond gets the top half of the seesaw now. 68-67, 3 minutes remaining. Some Indiana fans across the way are nervously watching this one behind the Hoosier bench. Nathan Jones for Smart.
Good job inside. Look at Kratzer trying to play in front of Garrett.
Jones with some penetration, dishing for Garrett. He's now 4 out of 15, but that was a big basket. 9 points for Dean Garrett, and the Hoosiers are back on top.
Atkinson made the outside jumper the last time on the same side of the floor as Wolford. See if they take it to Wolford's side. Here he comes right here. Give him the ball, let him work. Good defense that time by Jones. Jones created that steal.
And it was also a tough pass to handle. 11 turnovers now against Richmond. It got stuck in between down low the ankles of Wolford, and the little guys got down to take it. We've had 2 ties, 8 lead changes. Indiana on top right now by 1. Clock is 5 seconds away from 2 minutes remaining.
Garrett has to be careful, Bob, that he doesn't pick up a shoving foul or a pushing foul on offense. Get position and try to play it solid inside, because Indiana can ill afford to lose Dean Garrett.
Jones on the perimeter. Shot clock down to 7.
Get it up, guys. Got to look quick.
Now to 3. Garrett with 2 seconds on the clock. And Kratzer the rebound. It is like a chess match here in the last couple of minutes. You would expect that from coaches like Dick Tarrant against Bob Knight. Tarrant now with 1 timeout remaining as he uses his 3rd. Timeout on the court with the score. Indiana 69, Richmond 68, 1:26 remaining.
We can't afford the time or the money to take chances on car repair.
But we found a tire store that has great automotive service. It's Big O's Extra Care. Big O Tire's Extra Care services include professional brake service, alignments, front-end repairs, plus shocks and struts. And Big O's Extra Care service warranties are honored at over 260 Big O stores in 15 states. The warranties are nice, but more important, they did the job right the first time.
Rolling, 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 keep that business rolling. Oh, the freeway swollen, Carcone. Sailor one is calculating, your sales force will be waiting at the end of the line.
Only one outfit is American.
America's biggest, best mobile phone company, with access to AT&T's long-distance network, whose quality services you come to expect for your home, office, and now your vehicle.
Better serving our hometown southern Indiana communities of New Albany, Tell City, Rockport, and Huntingburg. Your one source financial friend, Regional Federal Savings Bank.
Okay, look, I know you might be upset because the NCAA basketball games are knocking out some of your favorite entertainment programs. Don't worry. I'm watching Knots Landing, Guiding Light, and As the World Turns, and I'll have rundowns of all three of those programs for you at 6 o'clock on Action 11 News. So stop calling the station, take a nap, and I'll see you at 6.
Dick Tarrant and his Richmond Spiders right in this one with 1:26 remaining. He has one timeout left after using one in the first half and two here since halftime. And at the other end of the court, with all four of his timeouts remaining, the master tactician, the general, whatever you like to call him, Bob Knight, who's been in this situation so many times, appearing in his 12th NCAA in 17 years at Indiana.
Yeah, I'm sure, though, if you're Dick Tarrant, you would have taken this situation. 1:26 to go. If you told them, look, you're down one against Indiana with 1:26 to play, he says, okay, I'll start right from here. And I've got the ball. He says, yeah, you got the ball. Okay, let's start playing.
Handling it, Rodney Rice, outstanding outside shooter. Stapleton is not a man who will be taking many shots down the stretch.
Of course, they take Garrett out of the game because Garrett's in foul trouble. And Bob Knight does not want Dean Garrett to foul out, so they take him out on this sequence.
Under a minute. Rice. Yes! A two-pointer. The coaches all say he hit for three, but they only give him two. 21 for Rodney Rice. Indiana timeout with 48 seconds remaining. And now Richmond has the one-point lead back. A timeout on the court with the score. Spiders 70, Hoosiers 69.
Southern Indiana. For those of us who live here, there's no place like it. From the rolling knobs to the river that is its heritage, you'll find friendly people that truly enjoy the richness and quality that life brings, Southern Indiana style. At Floyd Memorial Hospital, we're proud to be an active part in promoting that quality of life. Through the development of new technologies, warm personal services, and a dedication to excellence, Floyd Memorial Hospital continues at the heart of good health, Southern Indiana style.
Extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, ECMO. A few years ago, infants with certain lung problems had a 15% chance to live. Today, this technology is giving newborns an opportunity for a full life. Corsair Children's Hospital, the miracle place. Liberty National thanks these dedicated people for all of the love and the care that flows so freely here. Dedication, a word that Liberty understands. There are banks, and there is liberty.
Did you know that not all IBM dealers are advanced product dealers? Not everybody is, but here at Paris Office Systems in New Albany, you can choose from the entire IBM product line, from typewriters to computers and printers to the powerful new IBM personal typing system. With an inventory like that, Paris doesn't need to oversell on one particular product. So before you buy, call Paris Office Systems, 944-7827.
Richmond by one, as it should be, with 48 seconds remaining. And Dan, the replay shows the officials were right on top of this one. It was indeed a two-pointer.
Yeah, not even close this time to a three-point shot. They usually do make the right call when you take another look at it, but Rice makes a difficult shot under pressure to give the Spiders a lead. Dean Garrett, who was out of the game defensively because of 4 fouls, they did take the shot on the perimeter, but I'm sure Garrett will be back for offense as Indiana gets the ball.
It might take a long time to play this last 48 seconds because Bob Knight has 3 timeouts left. Dick Tarrant with 1.
And they're going to a box and 1 now. They're going to play Edwards man-to-man, and they got fouls to take. Only 4 team fouls that Richmond has, so they can come out and pressure. Nobody's guarding Jones. Nobody's guarding.
And Jones throws one out. Ball is loose. Jones got it, and he was fouled. Maybe the biggest rebound of that freshman's first year at Division I.
Well, Dick Tarrant's playing this just like he did at the start. He's letting some players shoot who don't normally do in key situation, and it's working. Jones with the shot, and more importantly, got the rebound, but not a shooting situation. Only the 5th team foul, so it goes out of bounds to Indiana.
Rice's 3rd foul. Coleman for Jones. Smart. Missing. Rebound, Rice. Richmond has the ball. And a breakaway.
Need a three-point. There's still time. They need a three-point shot, so have the presence of mind to shoot a three-pointer. Not inside. That's it. Outside.
Hillman for three. No, and Richmond wins.
Well, they said the East Regional was loaded, but what a job by Dick Tarrant.
Indiana first played in the NCAA in 1940. It took till 86 to lose in the first round. It's happened again. The score, Richmond 72, Indiana 69.
Get extra savings on Escort and Festiva at Carriage Ford now. Just $99 down delivers. Drive home an 88 Escort for just $99 down and $150 a month. Or put yourself in the hottest new Ford, Festiva. $99 down and only $125 a month. Small on price and big on value. That's Escort and Festiva at Earl Books Carriage Ford. Just $99 down delivers today. Across from the Green Tree Mall in Clarksville.
Hello, friend. Alan Purnell here. My brother and I make Purnell's Old Folks Country Sausage in Simpsonville, Kentucky. Now, there's a lot of country sausage, and there's a lot of difference. And I'd like to tell you what the difference is. We use the ham, shoulders, loins, and bacon, season it with pure natural spices, no water added either. Only then do we put our name on it, and if we put our name on it, you know we made it. So taste the difference in Purnell's Old Folks Country Sausage, because it's good.
There's nothing like the sensation of soaking in hot water in a spa from Bear Spa and Saunas, because our hot spring spas are the best spas in the world. You can choose from a wide assortment of models with the exclusive Moto Massage feature. And you can get the best spa for less with 100% financing. Hot Spring Spas. Come on, get in. There's one waiting for you now at Bear Spa and Saunas, Louisville and Lexington.
In Hartford, Richmond 79, Indiana 72, Indiana 69. One of the big upsets in the first round so far. And with me is Rodney Rice of the Richmond Spiders. Rodney, congratulations on the win. Your outside shooting in the first half and into the second half was a factor for your club.
Well, I know they were going to really be packing it in on Pete and Kratz on the inside. I know I had to hit the outside shot for us to win.
Richmond is not a team that gets a whole lot of national recognition. You won your conference, then you won the tournament. Very difficult to do, whatever league you're in. And now this. What's the feeling on the club from the guys you were able to talk to before you came over here?
Well, we're really excited about being in the NCAA tournament. You know, that was our first goal at the beginning of the season. And we wanted to come in here, and not only just to be here, but win a couple of games.
Now, you obviously did the job outside with your outside shooting, but talk, if you will, about Peter Wolfik and Kratzer down deep. They did a great job today on Dean Garrett.
Kratz has been really hitting the boards lately, and Peter, he's always our man inside. We look for him to score our points, but I was glad I was able to hit the outside shot today.
So is it celebration time, and when will you guys start thinking about Georgia Tech?
We're going to start thinking about Georgia Tech about an hour from now. We're going to cool down, but we know we have work to do our next game.
Rodney, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Rodney Rice, who had 21 points in the ball game here this afternoon and some outstanding three-point and outside shooting. And the coach is victorious as well. Dan's with him right now.
Thanks very much, Bob. And of course, Dick, what can you say? Great win. You did a terrific job. I thought you took their guards out of the play with the box and one, and the tempo really went your way in the second half.
I think we had to control tempo in order to win the game. If the game ever got into the 80s and 90s, I'm afraid we were going to run out of gas. As it was, we tired a great deal, but we hung tough as we have all year long.
In the second half, I thought that Kratzer did a super job defensively. Garrett really didn't have much in the first, but he really came to life, and he gave you some offensive punch.
Yeah, well, we thought the key to winning was to try to control Garrett, and our best defensive player is Kratzer, so we thought the matchup was in our favor. But, of course, you can't control a super talent like that for too long. And, of course, down the stretch, he was really knocking them in.
All right, now you get to savor this win for about 24 seconds, and then you get to go out and you get to play Georgia Tech. And I know that's a team that you beat earlier, which you said was one of your great wins of the year. Of course, this has to be your best, but that's a good ball club.
Yeah, this was a great win because it was here in the Big Ten. I mean, now we're down to 32, so we feel we're an elite. Beating Georgia Tech was our best win prior to this one. We beat them in Atlanta, and Bobby is probably waiting in the wings, but I'm going to save it for not 20 seconds, but 20 hours, and then we're going to think about Georgia Tech tomorrow.
All right, great win for you, and I know you're going to be back on Saturday, and it's got to be a dynamite win for the Richmond Spiders and Dick Tarrant, but you really played well today.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, Dick Tarrant did a dynamite job for the Richmond Spiders, and now let's go back to Bob Carpenter.
Richmond wins it by a score of 72-69. They got some scoring spread out by a couple of guys this afternoon. Rodney Rice led the way with 21 points. We just talked to him a moment ago. His outside shooting in the first half from three-point land, and then some two-pointers in the second half, including a big shot in the last couple of minutes. Big factors in the ball game here this afternoon. Peter Wolfuk also came on strong in the second half. He did not score a whole lot in the first half of play. Now, here's the last sequence as we go down to the final gun.
And I really thought, Bob, that Indiana had good presence of mind that time to know they needed a three-pointer, just couldn't get it down. Hillman missed the rebound, and then they had a man wide open and just ran out the clock. But what a win for Richmond, and it was the kind of tempo that they really wanted, and Dick Tarrant has to be especially happy with his team's performance.
Well, you know, yesterday in the press conference, someone had what I felt was a little bit of audacity to ask Bob Knight about repeating as national champ. And Bob Knight said, hey, it's so difficult just to get into the tournament and to win a first-round game. Looking down through the years, it took 46 years of NCAA play for Indiana to be eliminated in the first round for the first time. That was 2 years ago by Cleveland State, and now it happens again. It is a tough tournament.
Well, it's not the same Indiana team that won the national championship, and a lot of people have to realize that, and he knew that this was going to be a difficult game. He said before the game, he said, look, this Richmond team is very good. They're especially tough defensively, and we're going to have to play a great game to beat them. He played three guards, so he gave up a little bit on the inside, and he needed his big guys to come up with a big game. And I thought the game, if you really think about it, did not go in Indiana's favor in the first half. Garrett really didn't give him much inside. Isle didn't have much for him. And if they were going to beat this club, I thought they had to jump him early and get a little bit of a lead, and it never worked out that way.
Let's have a look at some of the final numbers on this one today. At the half, Richmond was shooting 62%. They fell down to 38% for a while in the second half and finished at 53. Indiana was at 48% at the half and finished pretty much in that area. But there were some other factors here besides the numbers, such as the late emergence of Garrett on the boards and things like that. Now, Dan, I have one question to ask you as we look at the numbers. Dick Tarrant called a timeout with Indiana leading 69-68 with a minute 26 remaining. In fact, he actually called a timeout a little bit earlier than that. With about 12 minutes remaining, Indiana had shaved a bunch of points off the Richmond lead. It seemed like from that point on, Indiana took the lead a little bit more, but then Richmond came back. What caused them to re-grab control of the game at that point, as they did out-rebound the Hoosiers by a half dozen today?
Yeah, they had a rebounding edge in the first half, but I thought after their timeouts, they came out and got quick scores and then got back in their defense. And I really think it was their defense and their ability to shut down the inside game, along with Wrights and along with Wolfuk, who gave him a good second half. Kratzer played great the whole game. I don't think you can diminish his contribution. But Richmond makes 11 turnovers. Indiana makes 8. And that means Indiana took care of the ball. So they didn't cause that many turnovers. But I thought when the game gets close, Bob, and it gets down to the end, anybody can win it. And as I said, with a minute and 26 seconds to go, I'm sure Dick Tarrant would have taken that situation. Right. We're down 1, but we've got the ball. And you mean to say we're only 1 back? And they went ahead and won it.
Against the defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers. Let's roll the clock back a little bit for you to a little less than a half minute remaining. Hoosiers with the basketball and trailing, trying desperately to find a way to win.
Yeah, they are, and they try to take it in, and that time Smart couldn't get it down. This is when they had a man wide open at the other end of the court. Kratzer, the big guy, makes a good move. Don't try to dribble it in when you're 6'9". Give it to a guard and let him go ahead and finish the play they did. Indiana now has to be thinking three-point shot, and they were. and they did get the ball to the right person, but they just couldn't get it down. He's all open on the side, and this is a shot by a guy who's a pretty good shooter, who normally can make that shot, just couldn't get it in. And then, of course, Richmond with the rebound and runs it out. And quite an upset. I think you have to categorize this as an upset in the first round, even though Richmond, a very underrated ball club, still, you beat the national champions, and that's a good win.
And you also beat one of the representatives of the Big Ten. It was Richmond coming in 24-6, now with 25 wins on the year, and Indiana finishes at 19-10. You don't have many Bob Knight teams that finish with double-digit figures in losses, so they finished the season with 10 losses on the year. Rodney Rice, a big game today for the Richmond Spiders. He had 21 points, 15 of them in the first half. And it was a big play he made in the last couple of minutes under pressure for a big two-pointer.
Yeah, this was out of the timeout that you alluded to. So they called the timeout. They come back out of it. And Dean Garrett was out of the game there because Bob Knight knew he didn't want Garrett to pick up his 5th foul. And Rice, as he did the whole game, made a big shot. And it was a two-pointer. They wanted a 3-point shot, but that wasn't even close. He was inside. But a big hoop out of another timeout that Dick Tarrant called.
And my, how the situation changes now. Yesterday, Dick Tarrant talking about the fact this, of course, was a great opportunity for his team to play the defending national champion. And now, all of a sudden, he beats them and looks at a team that he's already beaten this year in Georgia Tech.
And he said that was the biggest win they had all year. And I think he beat them down in Atlanta, which has got to be a great win for him. But this is a ball club that cannot be underrated. Every year, there seems to be a team that gets by a couple of rounds of the tournament that you'd say when you started that you'd knock them out right away, and this might be the club. Richmond's going to have a tough task, though, because I thought Georgia Tech played very well. They played an excellent second half in beating Iowa State. So he's got a big job on his hands, but don't count him out. This is a pretty good ball club.
Boy, wouldn't it be interesting to get Bobby Cremins' reaction to this result right now?
Well, if you're Cremins, you got to be thinking that Indiana's going to win this game. So you're probably scouting along the whole game, and you're sitting there scouting. You say, okay, let's take Indiana for most of the game. Then you're saying to yourself, uh-oh, we better switch it around now because it looks like the other guys are going to win.
Well, anyway, it's a great day for Richmond basketball fans everywhere. They have won their 25th game of the year. And, you know, it's one of those clubs that seems like it does everything the coach asked it to do. Dan, they went 11-3 and won their conference by 2 games over American and over George Mason. They got through the tournament unbeaten. And that's difficult to do no matter what league you're in. And then they come to the NCAA and win their first game.
Well, I think this is a real confident basketball team. They're on a streak. They've won a lot in a row. This is a club that's playing emotionally high, and it's a team that's got a lot of things going for them. And they may feel right now that they can go a long way in this tournament. And they've proven it. They've come out and played real hard. They've played with aggressiveness, and they've played with a lot of emotion. And Dick Tarrant's up there choreographing and doing a good job defensively of switching all kinds of defenses around. So when you play Richmond, you'd better be alert because they're going to do different things as you come down the floor. You're never going to see the same look twice.
Well, Bob Knight knew this was a well-coached, well-prepared, and talented basketball team. And when he said that at the press conference yesterday, there were a few snickers, I must admit, from some of the folks watching. But they found out today that he was for real, and so are the Spiders. 72-69, the final score here in Hartford in first-round action at the East Regional. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Frank Windigger, tournament manager Ron Dubois, and tournament media coordinator Tim Tolikin, from the University of Richmond athletics director Chuck Boone, head basketball coach Dick Tarrant, his staff, and sports information director Trip Shepard. And from Indiana, athletic director Ralph Floyd, head basketball coach Bob Knight, his staff, and sports information director Kit Klingelhofer. This telecast is a production of the NCAA Communications Department. Dave K. Wood, assistant executive director. The executive producer of NCAA Productions is Jim Marchioni. Productions coordinator Gina McNeil. Today's game produced by Terry Schindler and directed by Jim Edmonds. Promotional consideration furnished by Buick. The Great American Road belongs to Buick. And now for Dan Belwamany, this is Bob Carpenter. So long from Hartford, and hats off to the Richmond Spiders.
You won't want to miss the Louisville Antiques Exposition,